Hi there, folks. Thanks for joining us for this video where we're going to dive a little bit more into the Department of Energy's SBIR and STTR programs. I'm really welcome and glad that Eileen Chant can be here today with us. Eileen is the Outreach Program Manager for the Department of Energy's Office of SBIR and STTR programs. For our audience, Eileen, could you go ahead and introduce yourself real fast?
Hi, everyone. Happy to be here and talk to you about our programs. My name is Eileen Chant. I've been only with the DOE for a little over a year and a half. I'm fairly new to government service, which I am enjoying a great deal. But I did spend 25 years in the private sector. I'm a mechanical engineer, and I worked for a really pretty wide variety of energy technologies, you name it: solar, hydrogen, conventional energy, hydropower, etc. And I worked as an engineer doing design analysis, but I also worked on a lot of new energy technologies, evaluating them, how they performed. And as well as assisting startups with proposal preparation, including SBIR proposal preparation. So I've had a pretty wide variety of experience with startup companies in the energy sector. In addition to that, in my prior career, I worked with a number of nonprofit organizations in outreach, knowledge management, conference planning, and just kind of strategic direction of the organizations. So that's my background. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Eileen. So as you can see, Eileen has a wealth of experience in both outreach management and then just energy projects. So given your position within the DOE's Office of SBIR and STTR programs, Eileen, you're probably one of the foremost experts that can speak towards our first point. Can you just give us a bit of information about DOE's mission as it relates to the SBIR and STTR programs?
Another way of answering your question might be turning it on its head, which is, how does the SBIR STTR programs run with considering that it must be in sync with the DOE's mission? So the DOE mission is threefold, which people don't generally realize. The first part of our mission is to provide leadership in clean energy technology development, which everybody probably knows that about the DOE. But the other parts of our mission are to provide leadership in basic energy and engineering sciences. And that includes, how to study new materials, develop new microscopes, new lasers, how new instrumentation that's required to monitor the environment and biological systems. So in addition to that, we have a nuclear physics office, which studies atomic particles and matter. And then finally, the third part of our mission is to provide enhancement of nuclear security for the nation. And so that leads us to be interested in research and development in terms of detecting nuclear threats, nuclear non-proliferation security, and as well as the fact that the DOE is responsible for the nuclear weapons waste sites around the country. And we have topics in environmental mitigation of nuclear waste. So our topics, we run the SBIR STTR program. We issue focused topics that are aligned with the DOE mission. And I've just spoken about the DOE mission. And even though we do issue specific topics that are aligned with our mission, there's really a lot of topics out there. And so there's really a pretty broad array of topics. So you should not write off the DOE as just an organization that funds clean energy research. Look at our topics and make sure that there's not something there for you.
That is an excellent kind of point to trail off there with, Eileen, because that gets into our next question. I'm glad you brought up the topics, because so for anyone that's not aware, Department of Energy has 2 releases when they come out with their topics that they're interested in for that fiscal year. Release 1, which is usually around the July-ish timeframe, and release 2, which is, let's call it November-ish. And given that there are 2 different releases and that there are different offices within DOE that participate in those releases, can you tell us, Eileen, what role do those different releases play in the DOE's SBIR and STTR programs? And why should people kind of be aware of the differences between those releases?
Well, from an administrative perspective, it's easier on us to have 2 releases, and ultimately easier on our applicants because we're more available than if we just had 1 release. So we split our releases into 2 parts. One, like you said, in July, which has opened now, release 1, and there are 4 program offices that participate in release 1. Office of Advanced Scientific Computing, so that means high performance computing topics. Basic energy sciences, often looking for new microscopes, new lasers, new ways to study materials and their properties. And then there's the Office of Biological Environmental Research. They are looking for better ways to understand plant biology on a fundamental level, and how the environment, the environment, ways to better study the environment, including like atmospheric monitoring, particles, temperature, all kinds of things that might be in the atmosphere as well. And then we have the Office of Nuclear Physics, which studies particle behavior. And so those are the 4 that are out now. Those are pretty, you're probably thinking, oh, these are pretty basic. These are more aligned with the basic energy and engineering sciences. And that is true. They're around materials science, they're around physics, climate models, that kind of thing. And then there's the high performance computing as well. Release 2 comes out in November, and there are 9 offices. I won't read through them all, but there are 9 offices that participate, and there are a pretty wide variety of topics in those offices. The nuclear non-proliferation topics come out, the environmental cleanup of nuclear waste comes out. Also very popular, Office of Energy Efficiency and Renewable Energy, which is one of our 2 largest offices, and they've been fun topics in solar, water, batteries, electric vehicles, fuel cells, advanced manufacturing. They have a manufacturing sub-office, and more. So there's a wide variety of topics in release 2. You should there may be, based on your technology area, maybe release 1 or release 2 are going to be better for you, but you should always look at both topics documents because you never know what's going to show up. So I would say release 1 is fairly more towards the fundamental basic energy and energy sciences. Release 2 is a little bit more diverse, but does have more applied kinds of topics, the technology that you picture DOE funding. Did I answer that?
Yes, you did.
Okay.
I'm really glad you, the way you answered it, because that's something that, we actually tell people too, is we don't say it in as eloquent a way, as kind of the basic science versus almost the applied science. Usually I tell people, the release 1 is the kind of Star Trek-y type stuff. These are really, technical technology, and release 2 is a lot more about almost the application of energy and the application of energy itself.
That's a very good way of putting it. But I just want to caution people that we also have fusion energy sciences in there. I guess that's amazing. Yeah, it's still kind of applied, but it's still a technology that's very early stage.
Yes.
High energy physics is in release 2. So there you are as a Star Trek's topic. But it is mostly, as you say, Del, it is more applied.
Well, and, that's always one of the things that we try to, kind of coach people on is there's really no broad brushes you can paint across the SBIR programs, aside from they're for small businesses. Well, they're for-profit small businesses. It's the nuance that kills you. And even that nuance of yes, there's a lot more of the applied side in release 2, but there's still some of those higher level, more theoretical kind of concepts and topics that would be supported. And I think that's important for people to know is that, from what you've talked about, there are all these different areas of energy science, application of energy. It's not just about, renewables. It's not just about clean. It's, about instrumentation. It's about equipment. It's about a lot of different aspects of energy that DOE supports. And I think it's really good to kind of show people and highlight that there's a lot of support across DOE for the SBIR and STTR programs. So given that, DOE is pretty aggressive, I would say, in supporting both applicants and awardees. You have the phase 0, and then of course you have phase 1, phase 2, and then you have like your phase 2A and B, you have a phase 2C, there's Energy I-Core. There are all these different companion opportunities and companion style or supplemental funding and supplemental idea generation or moving forward that DOE offers. Are there any other programs or resources that the applicants or awardees should be aware of that can continue to support their innovation that DOE offers?
Yeah, I mean, what you're saying is so true. I mean, we are not just a granting organization. We have support programs along the innovation continuum. You mentioned the phase 0 program. It is an application assistance program to help first-time DOE SBIR STTR applicants prepare their phase 1 application. Very popular and well-regarded program. And if you are a first-time applicant to our program, I encourage you to sign up. We offer Ask Us Anything Q&A webinars. If you are preparing an application, which we know from your letter of intent, you will be invited to Q&A webinars. You can hop on a call. There are 3 of us from our office on the call and ask us questions about the application process. We always answer emails. We try to answer all emails within 24 hours, but we will answer your emails if you reach out to us with questions. Those are some, but not all, of our applicant resources. And then if you go to awardee resources, Del spoke about the phase 2. We have a second phase 2 and a third phase 2. If your research is progressing well, but you need more money and more time to do research and development to get you across that, it's like a bridge across the valley of death. You can get up to 7 to 8 years of funding to develop your technology. I want to mention a new program that we have called Partnering Assistance. We have a new tech to market advisor. Her name is Carol Rabke, and she will help you wherever you are in the pipeline. She will help you to find the partners that you need. In the early stage, you might need more consultants or material test labs, or teaming with national labs. In the later stages, you're probably looking for investors or corporations that are interested in maybe even buying your technology or licensing your technology. So she is our partner and go-to person. And if you go to our website, you can find our partner and resources page, and you can find her email address. And there will be some exciting programs coming forward with the partnering program. So stay tuned. We also offer high performance computing resources. If you need to run some of your code on our supercomputers, we offer that as well. We have a PI meeting, which allows you to understand how to progress. It's really focused on how to progressing from phase 1 to phase 2 and more. So there is a lot of programs. Visit our website and look at applicant resources and awardee resources web pages, and we go over a lot of those support programs.
So kind of, speaking of applicant resources and things that, applicants really need to be aware of, where NMFAS provides support, we mostly work with, first-time applicants. We do support awardees in some fashion, help them get towards a phase 2, put together their proposal package if they need assistance with, budget people, connecting to those. But our bread and butter is really working with those applicants, particularly the first-time applicants. So given that, and given that most of the audience watching this are going to be first-time DOE SBIR STTR applicants. Eileen, what's one critical fact that you think applicants should be aware of before they start planning to submit to DOE's SBIR and STTR programs, even for beyond just the phase 1 submission, even for submitting a letter of intent?
Well, you really want to figure out if you're a fit. That is, we don't want you to spend a lot of time if it's not a good investment and you don't have a good fit with our program, or you don't represent a good fit. What makes you a good fit? You have to be responsive to our topic and the subtopic. You select a topic and you select a subtopic when you submit your LOI and your application. You have to really be responsive to what technical problem is presented in the topic and the subtopic. You should have a novel idea. It can't be something that's already out there. You have to, phase 1 is a feasibility assessment. You have to have a solid work plan. Make sure that what you're doing is proving feasibility during your phase 1 award. And that also you have the right expertise. Your team, is your team composed of the right expertise to carry out the R&D? And are you developing something that could potentially be impactful if it is successful? So really focus on whether you are a good fit or not, because if you're not, you might want to look for other sources of funding rather than spend time applying to our program and not getting an award.
Those are all excellent points to bring up, Eileen. This has been a really informative interview and kind of question and answer session. And again, I want to thank you for taking your time to be part of it. Is there any final piece of advice you would like to leave the audience with?
Well, one of the statutory directives of the SBIR STTR program is that the awardees should be, the end game is commercialization of your technology. So it's never too soon to start thinking about your marketing and your commercialization plan. So understand the market, understand what your commercialization plan is, your intellectual property strategy, who are your customers going to be, what is your competition, and what are you offering? What are you potentially offering the market that is not out there? It's never too early to do that. So that's really my primary piece of advice. And in terms of accessing resources that can help you better understand the market, phase 0 will do a little bit of market research for you as you prepare your phase 1 application. And it's another support program we have, which is called TABA, Technical and Business Assistance. During phase 1, if you're an awardee, you get to spend $6,500 above the R&D maximum limit to understand your market and develop your commercialization plan. And in phase 2, you get $50,000 to study the market and develop your commercialization plan. So this is a significant amount of funding. So commercialization. That is sort of something that you do need to be thinking about.
Well, and I'm really glad you highlighted that, and that's kind of our keynote piece of information for people to take away, because I think that gets lost with a lot of people when they look at the different agencies and SBIR and STTR. Is there are two really kind of foundational and guiding principles across the programs: innovation and then commercialization. If you are not developing something new, something novel, something unique with market potential and market opportunity, then these programs are more than likely not going to be for you. And I think you encapsulated that excellently, Eileen. So, audience, this was our interview with Eileen Chant from the Office of the SBIR and STTR programs at the Department of Energy. Thank you again, Eileen. All of the resources that Eileen mentioned, we'll make sure to have links to in the description for this video, because make use of the tools, make use of the resources, make use of the knowledge, make use of the links, and make use of people's time and energy that they can devote to answering questions, addressing points, responding to emails, anything that you can do to make it more complete and compelling proposal package. Thank you all again. Thank you, Eileen, and we hope that this information and this video is very valuable to you all as you move forward with SBIR and STTR.
Thank you for having me.